Welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that may link with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that may link with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Closing in now on the start of the Euros. I'm saying it every day, but this time next week, Friday, we're nearly underway. First game, Germany versus Scotland. Kieran Tierney, Scotland. Kai Havertz, Germany. Going to be really, really interesting, that first game. And of course, there'll be a lot of star players on display over the period of the Euros. I was really intrigued what clubs were going to do with regards to transfers ahead of the Euros. Of course, I keep saying this, the transfer window, which it seems crazy to me, opens on the same day as the Euros. So our team's going to try and get a lot of deals done before that. Difficult because the transfer window doesn't officially open until then. Or are they going to wait until the end of the Euros, which can sometimes pose problems because players want to go on holiday. I mean, listen, not every team's going to make it to the end of the Euros, but players want to go on holiday. Prices go up if a player plays really well. So going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. And one player that's his Euros are going to be interesting, and what happens to him over the next week is going to be interesting, is Benjamin Sesko. He really does have a decision to make. Does he leave RB Leipzig or does he stay? And if he does go, which club does he join? RB Leipzig said to be keen to keep him for at least another season, would even be willing to up his wages and increase that release clause. Or he goes, somebody meets that release clause and he leaves. And as we know, Arsenal are one of the top candidates to sign him. Chelsea also very, very interested as well. And we're hearing that Borussia Dortmund are another team that would love to get the signature of Benjamin Sesko. Now, Sesko himself has said that what he's concentrating on right now is the Euros. He doesn't want the distractions of transfers and stuff like that. He wants to concentrate on the Euros. Of course, we'll get to see him playing against England because he plays for Slovenia. Slovenia's number one player. But he can say all that, but what must be going through his mind? Fabrizio Romano saying yesterday that, he's got his mind to make up. He's got to decide on what he's going to do going forward in the future. And he's got a decision to make of where he decides to go. Arsenal said to be one of those clubs very interested in him. Going to be really, really intriguing over the next week or so when it comes to Benjamin Sesko. One player that it looks like is definitely not going to be coming to Arsenal is Joshua Zirkzee. Spoke about him a few days ago. He's had a really, really good season for Bologna. Did young player of the season over there in Serie A. However, despite the links with Arsenal, and it haven't been strong links this summer, they were in January. There were strong links to Joshua Zirkzee. Arsenal were really, really liking him, really, really interested in him. But it does look like he's going to AC Milan. All the talk is they're going to trigger his £34 million release clause, and he will become an AC Milan player. Hasn't been done yet, but those are what all the rumours are saying. So will Arsenal turn their attention maybe to another striker if they can't get a Sesko? And this striker has popped up and emerged. His name is Semih Kiliscoy. I hope I've pronounced that right. Turkish international, still very young, only 18 years of age, but had a real breakout season last year for Besiktas, scoring, I think it was 11 goals for Besiktas last season. Very impressive for such a young player, 18 years of age. And, what it's like, as soon as you start to do those sort of things, every single club across Europe with a bit of money starts to open their eyes and look at that player. Now, according to his agent, he told a Turkish media outlet that Arsenal are among a host of clubs that have made inquiries about him and are interested in him. No offers have been made yet, but they're showing an interest in him along with a load of other clubs, top clubs around Europe. So could this be an alternative to, say, a Sesko? Still very, very young. And then I'm always very sceptical of these ones. Is this the agent talking him up, because he's mentioned like a load of clubs in the Premier League, including Arsenal, other clubs across Europe, big European clubs. Is he just trying to talk it up to get a deal for his client and get a deal for himself, a big deal abroad? But that's a player that's been linked with Arsenal today. Now, this next player has been linked with Arsenal several times. His name's Ousmane Diomande, Ivory Coast international, plays for Sporting CP, had another very good season for Sporting. He joined them from FC Midtjylland, and he has been a really top player for Sporting. Arsenal were interested in him even last January. They were taking a look at him. They were, showed a lot of interest in him. He's still a very, very young player, but considered to be one of the best centre-backs in the Portuguese league. Now, according to this outlet, Correio de Mana, they're saying that Sporting are willing to sell him. He has a release clause of around about £68 million, which is a lot of money for a 20-year-old, but nobody's really going to pay that. None of the top clubs are looking to pay that sort of money. And the thought is that Sporting would be willing to lower their price to around about £42 million. If that sort of offer came in, they would consider cashing in on Diomande as much as they wouldn't really want to sell him because he's a top player. So going to be interesting to see what happens with him. I do think that Arsenal could do with another centre-back. I mean, last year, our two centre-backs, absolutely brilliant, played practically every game. But what happens if there's an injury to one of those two? And there have been these rumours around Jakub Kiwior, who, remember, really is a centre-back. I know he had to play a lot of games, as left-back. But what happens if there's an injury to any of those two that I said, and also if Jakub Kiwior does go, because there has been these rumours that he could leave this summer. I guess you can look at it and say, listen, Jurrien Timber can play as a centre-back. He does that for the Netherlands. Ben White, of course, was a centre-back. So I guess you can look on it that way. But I don't know. I would, especially if Kiwior went, Diomande would make perfect sense. And talking of that, what's going to happen with the left-back situation? Arsenal been heavily linked with this next left-back, another player who plays his football in Turkey, and his name is Ferdi Kadioglu, plays for Fenerbahce, left-back, really, really talented player, Turkish international, even though he's born in the Netherlands, and he's been heavily, heavily linked with a move to Arsenal, with even rumours going around that terms have been agreed with Arsenal. Now, there's no, confirmation of that, but those are what the rumours are saying, that terms have been agreed with Arsenal. He's a left-back. He gets something down the pitch. I think we do kind of lack that with our left-backs in that, Zinchenko, more on the inverted side, comes in, does that brilliantly. When Tomiyasu plays there, he can get up and down, but is he that sort of, guy that that's really his game? And he's not really a natural left back, is he? So could Arsenal make a move for this guy? Again, going to be interesting to keep our eyes on this one. Another guy that we'll get to see in the Euros for Turkey, because Turkey are in the Euros. It's going to be interesting to see what he looks like. Going to be able to run a rule over a lot of players in the Euros. And then if we did move for him, what happens to Oleksandr Zinchenko? He's been linked with a move away from Arsenal. At the start of this week, there was a lot of talk that Bayern Munich were really, really interested in signing Oleksandr Zinchenko. However, according to the journalist Florian Plettenberg, he reckons that Bayern Munich are not prioritising Zinchenko, and indeed they want to sign Alphonso Davies, who's their top left-back, who is rumoured at first to be leaving and going to Real Madrid. They want to see if they can tie him down to a new contract. Of course, Vincent Kompany in charge there now. But what is going to be the future for Oleksandr Zinchenko? Because there are rumours that Arsenal would be willing to sell him this summer. And also, I want to get your thoughts on it. What are your thoughts? I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Do you think Arsenal should sell Zinchenko? Still, 27? Remember when he came in the first season, he was absolutely integral in what Arsenal were doing. He had an injury-hit season last season, didn't really get a pre-season, came in and looked shaky at times in defence. But do we just put that down to the fact that he didn't have a pre-season, looked a bit dodgy? but he'll come back to his best. I mean, what do you guys think? Because when he plays that inverted role, he's brilliant. Or should Arsenal be looking to push him into midfield, keep him, but play him in midfield where he doesn't have all them defensive duties to worry about, and he can, you know, really do what he does best, which is he gets on the ball and he's so creative. So would love to hear from you guys on Oleksandr Zinchenko, but he is still linked with a move away. So those are the rumours for today. Don't forget, we are here every single day here of the transfer window. It hasn't even opened yet. It opens next week Friday, but we're here early and we're going to be here every day until the end of the summer. So make sure you join us every day. Subscribe here to AFTV so you will never ever miss any of the shows, and I will see you tomorrow.